beat the Patriots, but they've, people want to qualify it on some level. Like, well, yeah, you beat a rookie and Bo Nix, and then you beat a journeyman and Jacoby Brissett, and now they're not going to face Tua, who, part of this conversation, he's on the IR, so they'll face his backup. So what is your? Do you feel like you've gotten a good read on the Seahawks team, or is it hard based on their competition to tell how good they are or are not?
First off, I'm not apologizing for beating NFL teams. Like, every team has a ton of talent on their roster, so I'm not going to apologize for, beating an NFL team. New England's a physical, they're a physical. I went and watched a bunch of that game because I knew we were going to talk. They're a big physical team. They can run the ball. They'll beat you up. They play some bully ball. Defensively, they're pretty stout. I mean, the Seahawks didn't run the ball for 2 inches against them, and Geno Smith, he threw. I mean, he was really good, right? They had some big plays, busted coverage to DK Metcalf and the like, but that's a big physical football team. So don't apologize for beating the New England Patriots in overtime. Listen, they're 2-0, and and I think they've played really well. Like I said in the opening week, I have yet to see anybody tackle better than what I saw them tackle. Now, it wasn't the same this week, but again, I think the Patriots are a lot better team than people think they are. Everybody just goes, oh, they're young or they don't have a lot of talent or whatever. They're physical, and I will say this about football teams like the Saints. I did the Saints first week of the season. I was like, that's a damn good football team. Wow, they beat the Carolina Panthers. So, yeah, I'm just telling you, they're a really good football team. Yeah, but the Carolina Panthers suck. Okay, but I'm telling you. And then they go into Dallas and absolutely smack them down. One thing that travels and one thing that will always win in the NFL, physicality. If you're physical, you're going to win a lot of games in the National Football League. And so, like I said, I've looked at what they've done so far, and I'm impressed.
Well, let me ask you this, Mark, from an offensive lineman point of view, because one of the things that Mike McDonald said is we couldn't move them. We weren't moving anybody. And, that's – look, they have that Godchaw, and they've got, some really big, 320, 330-pound dudes. They got 255-pound linebackers. I mean, you're right. I mean, they might end the season with being the best run defense. But when that's happening, where do you go as far as, play calling? And I thought they were going to have to put it in the air. I didn't think there was any way that, especially without Walker, that they were going to beat the Patriots. But what do you do when you have – that problem that you're just not able to move? Because it was kind of the same way in the first half against the Broncos.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the things, like you saw, is they decided just to throw the ball. And I get that aspect of it. But I still think you need to at least give some effort in the run. You need to do that. Even if you don't run it for a lot of yards, if you're doing it and you're consistently doing it, it does open up and it does sell the play action stuff. And, when you really sell it and you really tie your play action to your run game, it's really hard for defensive players not to at least stop their feet and take a peek, because that's what you're trained to do. It's the way it works when you run the ball. So oftentimes, and we used to say it all the time, even when we weren't running the ball well, it was still important to get those reps because of what it did in our play action game and the way we could exploit a football team or a defense in those intermediate route areas. So I still think it's a really important thing to do, even when you're not running it well. And like I said, New England's a big physical team, and they're going to do that to just about everybody. So they're really talented from that standpoint. And so I think they'll do that to a lot of teams.